You already know what the fuck going on. It's your bitch, Ocean Badass motherfucker. Subscribe my goddamn YouTube channel, Ocean Badass motherfucker. Motherfucker, period. Yeah. Follow me on goddamn IG. Follow my motherfucking fan page. Ocean Badass on Facebook. Motherfucking hardcore thing on Facebook, bitch. Follow them both of them if you goddamn want to. I don't give a fuck. I'm on all platforms, bitch. Let's get it. Pandora, motherfucking iHeart, SoundCloud, goddamn, Spotify, bitch, whatever.
November 10th, 2024, North Carolina. In the heart of a quiet apartment complex, nothing seems out of place. But little does anyone know, in just a few moments, this neighborhood will never be the same again. It was supposed to be another ordinary breakup, or so it seemed. Quenisha Chantel, a 26-year-old woman with dreams of becoming a nurse and a passion for ballroom dancing, had decided enough was enough. Her relationship with her boyfriend, Jeremy Reynolds, was over. But her boyfriend was not going to let her go without resistance. She knew he would definitely be pissed off, but she thought that he would eventually get over it. But sadly this breakup would take a deadly turn. The man she once loved, Jeremy Reynolds, couldn't accept it. At some point during the heated conversation outside his apartment, Jeremy reached into his pocket and brought out a gun. Jeremy, who'd been known to show signs of jealousy and anger, allegedly shot Quenisha in the head. She fell, lifeless, in the yard, a victim of her own attempt to break free. The cops were immediately notified of this cold-blooded murder. As the police arrive at the scene, they are faced with the unthinkable, a young woman's life taken in an instant. How did things go so wrong? What pushed Jeremy to do this? And why couldn't anyone stop it? Quenisha Chantel was a spark in her community. A 26-year-old woman, full of life and energy, everybody loved her for her warmth and kindness. On the dance floor, she shone brightly, a ballroom performer who captivated everyone with her grace and passion. She was always smiling, always sharing a laugh, and Quenisha's presence was like a burst of sunshine. People didn't just know her, they admired her. She wasn't just a performer, she was a nurturer, a woman who wanted to make the world a better place. Family members described Quenisha as deeply caring. She was always thinking of others, whether it was helping her cousins with their homework or lending a hand to a friend in need. And despite the challenges she faced, she always worked hard to better her life. She had big dreams. Quenisha wanted to become a nurse, to help others the way she had always helped her family and friends. Her drive was evident, as she balanced her passion for dance with her determination to work in healthcare. It wasn't just about the career, it was about serving people, about making a difference. But life wasn't always easy for Quenisha. She faced obstacles like anyone else, moments when things didn't go as planned, but she always found a way to overcome them. It was the challenges that shaped her strength, making her resilient, making her even more determined to reach her goals. It was during a difficult time in her life when she met Jeremy Reynolds. At first, he seemed like a solid match. They connected easily, they would talk on the phone for hours and he knew how to make his woman laugh. He was also very good at bedroom exercise. All these made her fall deeply in love with him. Quenisha thought she'd found someone she could rely on. But, as time passed, he slowly began to change. Quenisha's desire to break free from old struggles was met with Jeremy's controlling nature. And, as with many abusive relationships, the good moments became fewer, overshadowed by arguments, tension, and disappointment. But no matter what, Quenisha kept pushing forward. She dreamed big and refused to give up on the life she wanted. Her passion for ballroom dancing never wavered, and even when things got tough with Jeremy, she held on to the things that made her feel alive. But that was also when the most dangerous part of her story was quietly unfolding, setting the stage for the tragic events that would follow. Jeremy Reynolds, 30 years old, seemed like the kind of guy you'd find at the center of any room, charming and friendly. On the surface, he was easygoing, the kind of guy people liked to be around.
Well, this your boy Jeremy Reynolds back again with another season. We started off this year in Durham, North Carolina with the boys from Mount Zion Academy. This dude right here in particular, he comes all the way from Rochester, New York. He didn't want me to just say New York. He wanted me to put emphasis on Rochester. Just get the people a little bit about you.
But there was more to him than what meets the eye. Jeremy was someone who could flip in an instant. On one hand, he could be warm and kind, but on the other, he could be possessive and controlling. Those who knew him best recall his jealousy, always watching over Quenisha, questioning her every move, accusing her of things she never did. It was in these moments that she began to feel worried. It was during the early days of their relationship that Quenisha first saw the signs. At first, Jeremy seemed perfect. He was charming, attentive, and doted on her in ways that felt comforting. They shared moments of happiness, and for Quenisha, it seemed like the start of a great love story. But as time went on, the cracks started to show. Arguments became more frequent. Jeremy would accuse Quenisha of things she didn't do. If she went out with friends, he'd question her relentlessly, keeping tabs on her every move. At first, Quenisha tried to shrug it off. She thought it was just the stress of their lives getting in the way. But then, the emotional manipulation started. It wasn't just physical, it was the emotional weight that he put on her. And every time she tried to stand up for herself, he'd twist the truth, making her feel as if she were the problem. But Quenisha was strong. She had dreams, and she refused to let him control them. That's when things took an even darker turn. From the outside, no one could see the cracks in their relationship. On social media, their posts showed a perfect couple, vacations, parties, cute selfies. But behind the scenes, those posts were a mask, hiding the turmoil that was simmering beneath. Friends started to notice the changes in Quenisha. The posts became less frequent, and when she did post, she'd post something about love one day, and then a quote about strength and survival the next. People who were close to her started to wonder, was everything really as perfect as it seemed? As the suspense builds, it's clear, this was a relationship that was far from healthy. Quenisha and Jeremy's love story wasn't the fairy tale it appeared to be online. It got to the point Quenisha couldn't take it anymore. She was going to end the relationship, the day she had been dreading finally arrived. After months of tension, frustration, and manipulation, she had made up her mind. She was going to end things with Jeremy for good. She couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't be trapped in a relationship that drained her spirit and robbed her of her dreams. As the hours passed, the tension between them built. Jeremy, unaware that his world was about to collapse, had been sending her angry texts all day. "You don't appreciate me," one read. "You'll regret this." His words grew more erratic, more desperate, as the day wore on. Quenisha hesitated but knew she had to face him one last time. The decision was made. She had to speak to him, to make it clear that it was over. She stepped outside, the cold air hitting her face. Her heart raced, not just from the fear of what might happen, but from the anticipation of finally freeing herself. She walked toward his apartment, knowing full well what she might be walking into. As she reached the front door, Jeremy appeared. His face was twisted with anger. It wasn't the man she had fallen in love with, it was a stranger, someone unrecognizable. As she was trying to reason with him why the relationship had to end, she saw him in a fits of anger pull out a gun from his pocket. In a split second, everything changed. The sound of a gunshot shattered the moment. It rang out through the neighborhood like a nightmare coming to life. 1 minute, Quenisha was standing there, trying to find the courage to speak, and the next, she was crumpling to the ground, the life draining out of her in an instant. Jeremy had fired. The gunshot hit her in the head, taking her life with it. In those final moments, what went through Quenisha's mind? Did she realize what had happened to her? Did she have time to call for help, or to say something to her family and friends who would be left to pick up the pieces? The officers moved in quickly, knowing that every second counts. Their focus is on gathering evidence, looking for anything that can point them toward the suspect. Footprints, fingerprints, any clue that might help them understand what led to this brutal act. The detectives begin to question witnesses, trying to piece together the events that unfolded moments earlier. Every statement is crucial, but the clock is ticking, and the investigation is still in its early stages. Meanwhile, the police are already thinking one step ahead. They know they have to track down Jeremy Reynolds, he's their primary suspect, and they know that he could be anywhere. As the investigation is underway, a new, more urgent turn takes place. Jeremy Reynolds, knowing he is the prime suspect, flees the scene. He speeds away in his car, desperately trying to escape the consequences of his actions. Law enforcement isn't far behind. They quickly issue a broadcast with Jeremy's description, and soon, a high-speed chase begins, with officers hot on his tail. The situation escalates rapidly as Jeremy races through the streets, driving at dangerous speeds, evading capture at every turn. But just as the chase reaches its peak, Jeremy's car veers off course and into a gas station parking lot. The police are closing in. It's almost over. As they surround the vehicle, the situation takes a dark turn. A gunshot rings out from inside the car. Was it Jeremy trying to take his own life? Or was it a final act of defiance against the officers? The authorities don't know, but they respond immediately, firing shots to neutralize the threat. When the dust settles, Jeremy is found inside the car, motionless. Jeremy is dead. And the question remains, did he truly regret what he had done, or was this just another act of a man running from the consequences of his actions? The news of Quenisha Chantel's death spread quickly throughout the community. It was a blow no one saw coming. A vibrant, promising young woman with so much ahead of her, taken in an instant. The grief is almost unbearable for those closest to her. Her family, especially her parents, are struggling to understand how someone so full of life could be taken from them so suddenly. Her mother, tearfully recalling moments of Quenisha's childhood, can hardly speak without breaking down. Her father, still in shock, keeps asking, why her? Quenisha Chantel's story is more than just a tragedy, it's a reminder of the toxic nature of abusive relationships and the devastating impact they can have. What started as a seemingly normal romance turned into something far darker, as Jeremy Reynolds' controlling and manipulative behavior escalated into violence. It's a tragic example of how love can be twisted into something suffocating and dangerous. The warning signs were there all along, but they were ignored or misunderstood. Jealousy, control, manipulation, these aren't just small issues in relationships. They can be red flags that, if left unchecked, lead to horrifying consequences, just as Quenisha's story shows. The consequences are real. They can cost lives. Quenisha's death serves as a wake-up call to anyone who might be trapped in an abusive relationship. It's a stark reminder that no one should feel powerless in their own life. No one should feel that leaving a toxic relationship means risking their safety or their future. As we reflect on Quenisha's life and the violence that took it away, let us remember that abuse doesn't always come with physical bruises or scars that are easy to see. Sometimes, it's the emotional manipulation, the isolation, the constant questioning of one's worth that can be just as damaging. Quenisha's story is one of strength and resilience, But it's also a call to action for us all to recognize the signs of abuse before it's too late. Quenisha's life may have been cut short, but her story should not be forgotten. Let her death serve as a reminder that no one should feel trapped in a relationship that endangers them. If you or someone you know is in a similar situation, please reach out. There's help. You're not alone. As we end this video, we leave you with one last question to ponder. Who else knew the dark truth about Jeremy and Quenisha's relationship? The investigation is ongoing, and we may uncover even more shocking details soon. Stay tuned.